Okay, this video is for child or children Eckle. Since you're not born yet, I don't know how many of you there will be. I don't know if you're going to be a boy or a girl. So keep that in mind. Okay, now who am I? I am your great Aunt Kathy. I am your dad's aunt on his mother's side. So that's who I am. I am your great Aunt Kathy. I did want to basically tell you some things about what I did with, to, and for your dad as he grew up over the years. And again, I'm not going to be here to hold you and to hug you and to play with you and to teach you silly songs and do all the things that I did with your dad. Because of your grandparents' work schedule, I took your dad about 3 days a week from the time he was a baby until about the time he was 12 years old. So we hung out a lot together. When he was young, we would go to the park near my house. We would go to the kiddie wading pool. We would do sledding. I taught him how to do snow angels. I would get him in a clean spot of snow, have him plop down on his back, do the angels. Then I would grab him by his coat to pull him up so he wouldn't ruin the angels. And then I also taught him how to fly a kite, which was a lot of work until we got the kite up in the air. And then because we were at the park, that kite just kept going and going and going. I also taught him how to cook, how to be a survival cook. Since it's your grandfather, his dad, who's the good cook, I taught him how to cook just well enough not to starve to death and die. The other things that we did was our vacation trips. We had so much fun. One of the best ones was the southwestern Wisconsin road trip. We just got in the car and we went down the highway. We avoided the freeway and we took the back roads. This is where he saw the tobacco farms by the Madison area. We went spelunking in Potosi, going down into the caves. We went to the Mustard Museum, Land's End, and toured the facility, and just had a real good time. Crossed over the Mississippi River, so we could actually see how wide the Mississippi is when you're driving across it on the bridge. Hopefully you guys can do these things too. Washington, D.C. We went to Washington, D.C., where he learned about government. He learned how hard it is to walk around Arlington Cemetery because of the walking and the hills and all of these types of things. And the Holocaust Museum. And we also learned not to use your own car in Washington, D.C., instead to take the tour buses and the shuttles. Disney World. I took him to Disney World in August when it was hot and humid. And I think you'll know as you're growing up, your dad does not do well in heat or humidity. So it got to some of the rides were very, very long waits. And we tried to figure out how to do it the best. We also went to Universal Studios. And that's where I said, well, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And he did the whatever. So that's when I started calling him Mr. Cranky Pants. And we did go during the rainy season. I also made your poor dad get up early in the morning because we had to do things early in the morning because of the thunderstorms. The other trip we did with a friend of mine, Carmela went to Washington, D.C. with us also, was the Fox Valley, Green Bay, Manitowoc, Wisconsin trip, where we went to the Maritime Museum and we went to some of the state parks and attractions in the Fox Valley that recreated the old days of Wisconsin. And the people would actually be in character. They would dress that way and they would talk that way. And it did confuse your dad a bit because he was so young he didn't understand why these real living people were talking the way they did. So, but he did pretty good. And anyway, I've got some notes here that I make sure that I'm telling you everything. I also taught him how to use a lawnmower. As soon as he was old enough to understand the straight line, the lawnmower safety, he practiced on my yard and then we did the straight lines. We waited to do the curb till the very end because that was the dangerous part because of the cement curb. And then he went and did other people's lawns, and he got to the point where he was able to mow lawns for money. That was his first job. He got paid for mowing lawns. Plus, people trusted him. Some of his neighbors had him water their plants and do all of those types of things. Your dad, I also paid for his horse riding lessons. And that's when you don't realize how big a horse is until you stand next to them. And he did have, because he was young, he had to use the steps to get up to get his foot in the stirrup to get up on the horse because it was very, very high. Your dad was also very creative. He learned how to use stuff around the house to make his own toys and amusements. It kept him out of trouble. It kept him busy. He did a beautiful recreation of the Titanic. He did a great Apollo 13 capsule module. And he would be under my dining room table pretending to be the astronaut, and I would throw Nerf balls at him. And he would say, now you be careful, because if you crack or break the glass, I'm going to get sucked out of this thing. But he was such a creative little boy. And then as he got older, he was the one who was able to put my computers together and to teach me how to use the darn things, to what limited way I can use them. And you kids, by the time you see this tape, especially if you're 12 or 13 years old, the technology will be far, far beyond even what your dad is using right now. But we're not going to do a hologram. That's a little too scary. You don't want to bring me back as a hologram. I won't let him do that. So anyway, he's always been my little buddy. And as he got older, he was able to help me. He got taller, he got stronger. He was able to help me do things. When he was really little, to reach things high up on the grocery shelves, I used to pick him up and he would get them. Then as he got older and taller than me, he was able to just reach them for me. So that we were just, we did all of these things together. I think the two most important things that we learned from each other, your dad and I, was love and respect. And I want him to teach you that also. I know that because you'll be raised by him and your mom, and your mother is a good woman. I want you to listen to your parents. They know what's best for you. I don't care how stupid it sounds at the beginning, but it will, it'll be for your own good. I'm sorry that you won't have an aunt or an uncle from your dad's side, since he's an only child. You will have an aunt on your mother's side, because I think grandparents and aunts and uncles are needed also when you need your backup, from what your parents are saying, doing, or telling you what to do. Your dad also knows all the family history. We went through photographs, documents, newspaper articles. I explained to him who these people were, a little backstory on them, their relationship to him, the approximate year that these photographs were taken. And so he has all of that, and he's keeping it all in a safe place so that he can go through all of that stuff with you or you kids, with you kid or you kids, depending upon how many there are of you. So that way you'll know your family history. Again, I'm not going to be there physically to hold you and to comfort you and to teach you silly things and to tell you when to listen to your parents and to give you alternatives, if that's going to be the better option. But I will be your guardian angel. I will be up in heaven. I will be watching over you. One of the things that your dad and I always, when we got off the phone or we finished an email, we would always do, love ya. And these are the things that I want you to do, the love ya. Now you've gotten some toys. Here are some toys that you're gonna get when I'm gone. And even though they're pink, real boys will do pink. So you can take these when you're little and you can squeeze them, you can hold on them, you can suck on their ears, whatever you're gonna be doing with them. And there are a couple more toys that your mom hopefully has put away in a safe place. So I want you to, whenever you see these toys or you play with anything or you go through photographs, I want you to think of me. If you hear that little voice say, now don't do that. You hear a voice say, it'll be okay. That'll be me. I'm watching over you. The other thing your dad is going to have, I might get off camera. I don't know how good your dad is at this. Are the how are you going to be able to zoom in on? Where do you want this? Okay. Here's the picture boards that your dad will have custody of. This will give you more stories, people that I knew in my life, cars that I've had, all of these. Here's your grandparents' wedding picture. You can see when they were young and your dad had brown hair. I don't know what color your mom's hair will be, but it'll probably still be brown, but we know better, as you can tell from my hair color. And by the way, your great Uncle Tom also has gray hair. So anyway, here are more pictures. Now, if I fall off the chair, your dad will follow me to the floor. Okay. More pictures of me, including me as an adorable little baby. Wasn't I an adorable little baby? And look at that adorable little child right there. Who's that? That's your dad. Oh, where's the other one? Your dad. And me with brown hair. Okay. Here's another picture of your dad. Another picture of your dad. This picture is, your dad's got to take these home. This was my Corolla, who I call Little Putter. This was the mighty Celica, and your dad. Before I knew the Celica wasn't going to make it all the way I thought she would, I told your dad he could have this car. But the car's not here anymore. It was put through a compactor, I'm sure, and it's a hubcap somewhere, an ashtray somewhere. But anyway, we've got pictures of friends that have since gone to heaven also. So I'll be seeing Jim up there. We'll be playing Uno. And just as I thought just as he thinks he's gonna win, I'll do what your dad did. I'll pull out the draw 4 card, slap it down on the pile, and say, bye-bye, Jimmy. We all got a big kick out of that. So Jim's in here a couple times. My friend Doris, who has since gone on to heaven. There's pictures of his mom, me, and his great Uncle Tom when we were little kids. So I think as you look at photographs, you'll notice that your dad, your grandmother, and your great-grandmother, when they were a certain age, all looked the same. So I think, except your mom, your grandmother, and your great-grandmother, their photographs are in black and white, where your dads are in color. But they all look like the same kid. So don't get scared. One of you might look like him. So I think that could happen. Don't get scared. It's a good thing. So anyway, this is your great Aunt Kathy signing off, saying love ya, and I'll be watching over you. Bye-bye.